Hi everyone, Steve Crosby here. Welcome to this, our 8th installment of our expedition into the theme of father and son ministry. Now, for some of you, again, like we started this series, who may never have been exposed to this, you might think, man, this guy is really beating a dead horse. He needs to move on. You can only say that if you've never seen the human face of suffering that I have seen in the lives that have been devastated by this sort of teaching. So we're going to continue on for a few more weeks, a few more facets of this thing, particularly highlighting for you the inherent difficulties, the inherent troubling features of the common expression of this thing called father-son ministry. And the one for this session, I would call it disenfranchisement, or building a Christian caste system. It goes like this. If you believe in this so-called father-son ministry paradigm, and the only legitimate way to do discipleship is through a father-son or a mother-daughter paradigm, it inherently has with it a disenfranchising category, because you have those people in a community that are the sons and those people who are not. It's almost like you have a varsity and a junior varsity team. And I have seen churches go so far as, we'll only give the right hand of fellowship to our spiritual sons. The rest of you, we'll teach on Sunday, but we won't commit to you. And strange things like that. It sets up a caste system. The ins and the outs, which is the very, very opposite of the gospel. There are no more ins and outs in the gospel of Jesus. That's the whole point of the gospel of Jesus. And when you're dealing with particularly maybe insecure people or people who need a lot of validation, and they see the sons, being validated and recognized and given opportunities, and they're just sitting in the pew, giving their money and listening to the sermons. They're on the freshman squad. They're not on the first team. They're not on the A team. That's just an ungodly paradigm. And guys, it happens all the time. Now, normally when I bring this up, people say, yeah, but didn't Jesus relate differently? He had the 500, he had the 120, and then there was the 70, and then there was the 12, and then there was the 3. And and he related differently to the 12 and the 3. Look at. It is one thing to acknowledge and flow with the natural outgrowth and development of human relationships. That is, I can only relate to someone to the degree they offer their heart to me and invite me into their heart. That is different than strategically building class distinctions into our faith communities through the clumsy and heavy-handed implementations of a very weak theological idea. Now, think of this. If your identity is not secure, like I just mentioned, if you're looking for validation, the pressure, the psychological and the emotional pressure that can be put on somebody can be overwhelming. The desire to be accepted. I want to be a son. So-and-so and so-and-so is the apostle's son. Man, what do you have to do? And then the next thing you know, here's what you have to do. You have to give me your heart. You have to commit to loyalty. You have to tithe to me. You have to commit to the sonship discipleship program. You have to complete 7 in order to be a son. Again, it's a human attempt to try to package, commoditize, and deliver a methodology of spiritual ministry instead of just relaxing and flowing with whatever the Holy Spirit might be doing in the wondrous mystery of uniting two hearts together. The minute you systematize this, you've crossed over into unhealthy territory. Now, consider Paul's universe. We said earlier, Onesimus, Titus, and Timothy. The only 3 that he ever specifically called his sons. Well, does that mean that everybody else is on the junior varsity team? Apollos and Silas and Mark and Demas and Aristarchus and Luke and Stephanus. The list in Romans 16, they're the second tier class of ministry. They're not my sons. I don't believe that for a second. Paul was not hierarchical that way, and he certainly didn't view sonship that way. And this dynamic of disenfranchisement is so contrary to the truth of the gospel that for me, the word wicked is not out of place here. It's that bad. The dynamic is so contrary, and the pressure to conform opens up such unhealthy human dynamics that it's wicked. The new covenant, the new creation, the new birth begins sociologically by the enfranchisement of everybody, women, Gentiles, slaves. The whole point is inclusivity in the gospel. And then there comes this other thing by some people in apostolic and prophetic communities or whatever that actually undermines the very sociological dynamic of the fundamentals of the gospel. And that's why I'm so passionate about it. That's why I think it's a mistake. It is a mistake to turn this all into a technique and methodology of ministry, because it disenfranchises people and that is contrary to the gospel. I'll see you next time.